Welcome back to the Football Terrorists. Hit the like button, subscribe. Make sure you share this piece of content in your WhatsApp groups, on your timelines, wherever else you consume, Reddit, whatever it may be. I'd love to get as many opinions on this as possible. Football, like any elite level sport, any kind of high executive job, comes with, especially jobs that are public facing, come with huge levels of pressure and, of course, scrutiny. There is always people looking to chop you down. There is always going to be huge levels of criticism, judgment, assessment, also praise if things go right. When you are paid exorbitant amounts of money and or you hold very important jobs. And generally, the higher paid you are, the more important your job is. Some of it may be sports, some of it may be politics, some of it may be medicine, but they all share one common denominator, and that is pressure. Pressure to perform, to be consistent at the highest level. And of course, there are always people that are ready to take over from you, ready to take what you've got, ready to be the next surgeon, the next MD, the next goalkeeper in this particular case. And Aaron Ramsdale was a keeper who I think has surpassed expectations. When he joined Arsenal, I remember even the most diehard TPFs online that back nearly everything that Arteta has done, and never say a negative word. Never say a negative word. Yes, it does say right. They seldom speak negatively of Arsenal. When Aaron Ramsdale was signed, the notion was, why so much money on an average goalkeeper? And he came in and very quickly became the number one. And I think, generally speaking, has been very good for Arsenal. Got himself into the England team, and a lot of people believe he should be the England number one. I'm not a big fan of Pickford, even though in an England shirt, he typically doesn't make mistakes. He's pretty good. I prefer Aaron Ramsdale. I have watched a number of Arsenal games in recent years with Arsenal fans, and there have been times where Ramsdale makes them all a little bit nervous. He has had his concentration levels kind of criticized at times, and prone to a mistake or two. But I think most goalkeepers are in 2023 with the way teams play out from the back. But Ramsdale seemed to be pretty much set. He got a new deal. And then David Raya joins. And I thought this was an interesting move. And the reaction I have seen from mainstream media and some Arsenal fans towards the signing of David Raya is a strange one to me. And it's strange because it is laced in hypocrisy. Laced in hypocrisy. And it doesn't make any sense. At no other time have I ever seen a club buy a better player for a said position and had it deemed as a negative. The only time you could argue that is if you have a young striker who's 21 years of age and he's tipped to become the best in the world, and you go and sign a striker who's 27, who's better than him now, but in 2 years' time won't be. And you get rid of the striker up front and you sell him on somewhere else. I can understand that, but this is a very different scenario. And David Raya, yes, he's had some mistakes in his early days, but most people would agree he's a better goalkeeper than Aaron Ramsdale. And him coming in, it's normal. Arsenal were looking to improve their position on the pitch. But it's been met with the typical British media of, oh my God, Arteta's creating problems for himself. Arteta's creating these issues, blah, 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 blah. And I don't think he has. I think he's done something which is atypical within football. Now, Ramsdale's father has done a podcast on the Highbury Squad podcast, which I listen to every now and then. And I gave it a listen. And listen, you've got to listen to it because tone of voice and how the delivery comes across is important. But I think he said some things which shouldn't be said. They shouldn't be said because it's internal information. And he's come out here and said that you just have to look at the personality, and I'm probably saying too much, but you are saying too much. But Aaron is going to be the cup goalkeeper, and David Raya is going to be the main man, unless something happens like an injury or a sending off. He said, he goes on to say, and Aaron's got to live with that, and he is living with that even though he has not been told it by anybody. Squads evolve all the time. Nobody is going to be there forever. David Raya has not pulled up trees so far. Let's say he's not going to. Let's say he's not going to, even though the way it's been done in my eyes was wrong. Aaron's lost that smile, and it's difficult to see him there. And I think what's interesting is, firstly, I think you shouldn't be... Aaron's obviously confiding in you. You've got your opinion, whether you think David Raya is playing well or not. Aaron has obviously confided in him as his father, and I don't believe he should be sharing this stuff publicly. Because, one, I think this is common practice. I think there are lots of players that feel how Aaron Ramsdale does. Not just goalkeepers, but left-backs, centre-backs, strikers. When the club signs somebody new, their nose gets put out of joint. I think this happens in most businesses. You know, you're the top salesman, and it turns out your company has hired somebody from a rival firm who smashes it over there. That's, oh my God, I'm the number one guy. Why's he coming here? I think we've all been there in one way, shape, or form. But the reason that I think this is a mistake is, one, I believe this is internal information that should be kept in-house. Kept in-house. Two, the hypocrisy is Aaron Ramsdale himself did this to Leno, right? So that was okay. It was completely fine for him to take Leno's smile, Leno's place. But this time, this is the problem now, it's my kid. Or this time it's a problem because I like Ramsdale, depending on how you view this. I think this is atypical. And the media, through their hatred for Arsenal, through their desperation to create mountains from molehills, are twisting this into being some obscene situation. I think it's normal. But what we're seeing is the media twist it. And now Ramsdale's father, in my opinion, stupidly has come out and spoke about this. Now, he's got every right to say what he wants. I'm not saying he shouldn't speak. Well, I am. He's got every right to speak, but I think in this circumstance, he shouldn't have done it. I'm not saying he shouldn't have the right to speak. I just think he shouldn't have spoke, is what I mean. I hope that makes sense. Because all this is now going to do is apply more pressure onto Ramsdale every time he plays. All it's going to do is put more pressure on David Raya every time he plays. And that's no good for Arsenal. I don't think Arsenal have created a problem here. Improving your goalkeeper is not a problem. It's a good thing. It's being twisted into one. Ramsdale himself, though, has also added fuel to this fire with... Take a listen to what he said here during an interview with Ian Wright.
To concentrate on a game of football for 90 minutes, I'm finished. I can't do it. So that's why I get involved with the fans, and I'll sing along with the songs, and someone's giving me abuse, I'll turn around and I'll give them a bit back. Yeah. I've had me 2-3 minutes of sort of madness in my head, straight back to the football. Yeah, okay, and I've got 10-15 minutes of pure concentration again.
Again, this is a weird one for me. I get him. I do. I read somewhere once upon a time that the average human being can concentrate on a particular thing for an average of 15 to 20 minutes. So, but that's the average human being. I would expect an athlete, I would expect anybody that is a hyper professional, an expert in what they do, for it to be a bit longer, but that's a typical amount. This is something you don't say. There are certain things in life you don't say out loud because you open a can of worms. And that is what this is. It's a can of worms now. I mean, there's already a video going around where you see him doing this and staring. They concede a goal and it turns out there's a pigeon on the floor. This is going to happen a lot now. Whenever he concedes a goal, whenever there's a mistake, whenever there's a problem, it's going to be twisted into, was he concentrating? And I understand some people say, Terry, but he's just speaking the truth. He is speaking the truth, but perception is a reality. And the perception will now be he concentrates a lot less than other goalkeepers, even if that isn't true. You then throw in what his father has said on the podcast. My question is, how does this help Arsenal? I cannot for the life of me see how it does. And sometimes we beg for players to be more open and speak more of the truth. We want more honesty. I don't personally think it helps half the time. You know, it's different when you're in singular sports like boxing. They can just say what they want. They only represent themselves. They're not letting anybody else down per se when they speak. But when you're part of a team, it's very, very different indeed, in my humble view. But I'd love to get your take on this scenario because I see it trending. I see it out there. I see lots of different opinions, but I wanted to pose it to the Football Terrace. I want to get how you think, feel, and interact with this. Let us know in the comment section below. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again. Peace.